India is the world's third largest car market. More than 5 million vehicles were made in the country last year.
EVs. If you're looking to buy an EV, you are in luck because right now this is a buyer's market. The prices are going down and the number of companies offering electric cars is going up.
Something big is happening in India. It's about a new kind of battery that powers cars and threatens to flip the entire electric vehicle industry upside down. They are doing something different, something bold. They've announced a line of new energy vehicles powered by a battery the world isn't ready for. Not just any battery, a battery that could destroy the rulebook, one that could knock out the giants of the EV world.
The country's growing middle class is shifting to luxury vehicles from inexpensive cars. But most of the cars made in India stay in the country.
So, what's so special about these vehicles and their batteries? Why is it so powerful? And how can it turn the EV world upside down? Stick around to find out. Are electric vehicles the future we hoped for? For years, the world looked at electric vehicles as the future. Tesla, BYD, Lucid, they all made promises regarding clean energy, zero emissions, and fast charging. But beneath those promises was a problem. One big problem. The battery. The battery is the heart of every electric vehicle. If it fails, the whole car fails. If it's expensive, the car is expensive. If it charges too slowly, nobody wants to drive it. And for a long time, people accepted heavy lithium batteries, fires, long charging hours, and high prices. But now, India is saying no. One of the major challenges facing electric vehicles is the high cost of lithium-ion batteries. The production of these batteries involves expensive materials such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, and graphite. These raw materials don't come cheap, and the supply chain for them is often limited and unstable. This causes battery prices to skyrocket, and as a result, the price of electric cars remains higher than conventional gasoline-powered vehicles. The cost of a battery can represent as much as 1/3 of the total price of an electric vehicle. And when you add the expense of raw materials, production, and distribution, it's easy to see why electric cars are still out of reach for many potential buyers. Even though the cost of batteries has fallen by about 85% since 2010, it's still far more expensive than consumers and manufacturers would like. Battery prices can vary, but a typical lithium-ion battery pack costs around $100 to $200 per kilowatt-hour. While this price is decreasing, it still makes it tough for automakers to keep the total vehicle price affordable. Most mainstream EVs, such as the Nissan Leaf or Chevy Bolt, are priced at $30,000 or more. The higher the battery capacity, the more expensive the car becomes. So, while electric vehicles promise lower operating costs over the long run, since they require less maintenance, have cheaper fuel, and often benefit from government incentives, the upfront cost can be prohibitive. This is one of the key reasons why people are hesitant to switch to electric cars. The range of an electric vehicle is another significant issue. Range anxiety is real, and many consumers are hesitant to adopt electric cars due to the fear of running out of battery before reaching their destination. Most EVs today offer ranges between 150 and 300 miles on a single charge, depending on the size of the battery and driving conditions. But that's not always enough. For example, the Tesla Model 3 long-range variant can travel about 358 miles on a single charge.
This is the Tesla Model 3, and to be honest, it's getting on a bit now. It was first launched in 2017 back in the US.
And while this range may seem impressive, it's still not enough for many drivers who rely on longer trips for work or leisure. And for the vast majority of the electric cars on the market today, the range is still well below 300 miles. While advancements in battery technology are helping to boost ranges, the issue remains a serious hurdle. Another problem with charging is the long wait times. Many fast chargers are not always readily available, and drivers may need to wait their turn before they can plug in. This is particularly true in high-traffic areas where demand is high. What happens when you run out of charge in the middle of nowhere? Unlike a gas car, which can be refueled quickly at a nearby station, an EV can leave you stuck with no way to power up. This is another reason why range anxiety is so prevalent among potential buyers. Consumers often have the perception that an EV will not get them as far as a gas-powered car, and the last thing anyone wants is to be stranded on the side of the road because of a dead battery. The reality is that even though electric cars are improving in terms of range, they still don't compare to gas-powered vehicles, which typically have a 400 to 700-mile range on a full tank of gas. This gap in range is a major deterrent for those looking for an alternative to traditional vehicles. Many people just can't rely on an electric car to go the distance they need, especially in a country like the United States, where long-distance travel is common. Problems associated with using EV batteries. Charging speed has long been a significant inconvenience for EV owners. While gas stations are almost universally available and can fill up a tank in just a few minutes, charging an electric vehicle is another story. Even with fast charging stations and superchargers, charging an EV takes a lot longer than refueling a conventional car. For example, it might take about 30 minutes to an hour to charge a typical EV to 80% using fast charging technology. This is certainly an improvement compared to older charging methods, which could take several hours. However, compared to just 5 minutes at the gas pump, charging remains a major inconvenience for drivers. Charging stations are also not as widespread as gas stations. Most public charging stations are located in urban centers or along major highways, meaning people living in rural areas may struggle to find convenient places to recharge their vehicles. The lack of reliable charging infrastructure is another key reason why people are reluctant to make the switch to electric. On top of the practical concerns, lithium-ion batteries are far from perfect from an environmental perspective. For one, the materials used to make these batteries, like lithium, cobalt, and nickel, are obtained through mining processes that have significant environmental and ethical impacts. Cobalt mining in particular is a major issue. Cobalt is primarily mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, where working conditions are often described as dangerous and exploitative. Child labor is also a serious issue in cobalt mines, leading to widespread human rights violations.
This is one of the thousands of unregulated, unmonitored mines in the DRC. It's crawling with children, working like modern-day slaves. A 12-hour-long day of punishing work may earn them the equivalent of £1.
This is a huge ethical dilemma for consumers who want to make environmentally friendly choices but don't want to contribute to human suffering. Lithium mining, although less controversial than cobalt, also has environmental consequences. The process of extracting lithium involves large-scale water consumption in areas like the Atacama Desert in Chile, where local water supplies are already scarce. This has raised concerns about the environmental impact on local communities and ecosystems. Additionally, the recycling of lithium-ion batteries remains inefficient. Only about 5% of lithium-ion batteries are recycled today, meaning that most of them end up in landfills or incinerators, further contributing to environmental pollution. Even though there are methods for recycling these batteries, the process is complex, expensive, and not yet widely available. As EVs are driven, their batteries slowly lose capacity. This is known as battery degradation. Over time, the battery's ability to hold a charge diminishes, reducing the vehicle's range and overall performance. Most lithium-ion batteries begin to degrade after about 5 to 10 years of use, depending on factors like temperature, charging habits, and usage patterns. For example, if you drive an EV regularly, you may notice that the battery's range begins to shrink, meaning you'll need to charge more frequently. If you drive long distances, this can be a serious inconvenience. In some cases, battery degradation can lead to costly repairs, as replacing a battery can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, depending on the make and model of the vehicle. EV manufacturers often offer warranties for battery life, typically ranging from 8 to 10 years. However, even with warranties in place, consumers are still concerned about the long-term cost of replacing batteries. For many, the fear of having to pay for a new battery after only a few years of use is a huge deterrent. The New Energy Vehicle Upgrade by India. India has taken a bold step to change the entire EV industry by introducing a new wave of batteries. The current EV battery technology faces several challenges, from high production costs to limited range and slow charging speeds. But here comes the exciting part. India's announcement about their new energy vehicles, NEVs, is poised to address these very issues and shake up the entire electric vehicle industry. India has long been one of the most ambitious countries in terms of sustainability and clean energy. With a massive population and rapidly growing urbanization, the country has a unique opportunity to reshape the future of transportation. One of the biggest problems with electric vehicles has been the battery. It's heavy, expensive, and limited in its capabilities. However, India's innovative approach to developing next-generation energy vehicles and their batteries promises to change all of that. Let's dive into how India plans to revolutionize the EV industry, starting with their breakthrough in battery technology. India has recently made significant strides in battery technology, and the heart of their new energy vehicles is the solid-state battery.
Solid-state batteries have long been thought of as the innovation that will once and for all make electric vehicles the obvious and only choice over internal combustion engines.
Unlike traditional lithium-ion batteries, which use liquid electrolytes, solid-state batteries use a solid electrolyte. This advancement has the potential to eliminate many of the drawbacks that has been discussed earlier. Let's break them down. Solid-state batteries can store more energy in the same amount of space. This means that electric vehicles powered by solid-state batteries will be able to travel longer distances on a single charge. The energy density of solid-state batteries is expected to be up to 2 to 3 times higher than that of lithium-ion batteries, which could result in electric vehicles with ranges of over 500 miles on a single charge. This directly addresses the issue of range anxiety, which has been one of the biggest hurdles to widespread EV adoption. One of the major complaints about current EV batteries is the long charging times. Solid-state batteries have the potential to charge much faster than lithium-ion batteries. Indian manufacturers are hoping to bring the charging time down to just 15 to 20 minutes for a full charge, which is comparable to the time it takes to refuel a conventional gasoline vehicle. Faster charging could drastically reduce waiting times at charging stations, making EVs more convenient for daily use. Traditional lithium-ion batteries are flammable and can catch fire or even explode if damaged or improperly charged. Solid-state batteries are much safer. The solid electrolyte is non-flammable, which greatly reduces the risk of fires. This is particularly important as the adoption of electric vehicles grows and more people rely on them for daily transportation. Battery degradation is a major concern with current EVs. Solid-state batteries, however, are less prone to degradation. These batteries are expected to last much longer than their lithium-ion counterparts, potentially lasting 20 years or more before significant capacity loss. This means EV owners won't have to worry about replacing expensive batteries every few years, making the overall cost of ownership much lower in the long run. Also, solid-state batteries are not as reliant on cobalt and nickel, two of the most expensive and controversial materials used in current battery production. This reduces the environmental and ethical concerns associated with mining these materials. By reducing the demand for these scarce resources, India's new energy vehicles could pave the way for more sustainable and ethical EV production. India's focus on solid-state battery technology is just one part of the solution, but it's one of the most important. Not only does it improve the efficiency and sustainability of the batteries, but it also opens the door for India to become a global leader in electric vehicle production. By focusing on this advanced technology, India is positioning itself as a key player in the global transition to clean, sustainable transportation. But is that all? India's push for sustainable energy and local manufacturing. India's commitment to developing clean energy and electric vehicles doesn't stop with the batteries. The Indian government has been actively promoting policies to encourage the adoption of electric vehicles. Through its FAME India scheme, the government provides incentives for manufacturers to produce electric vehicles and for consumers to buy them. This is a significant push to make EVs more affordable and accessible to the masses.
FAME scheme, or the faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles, is set to expire on the 31st of March 2024.
India is also investing heavily in the development of charging infrastructure. The government has been setting up charging stations across the country, particularly in urban areas, to ensure that electric vehicle owners have convenient access to charging. As more charging stations are established, the fear of running out of battery during a long trip will be significantly reduced. Furthermore, India has been focusing on localizing the manufacturing of electric vehicles and their components, including batteries. In the past, India has relied on imports for its EVs and battery technologies, particularly from countries like China. However, India's new initiatives aim to reduce this dependency and foster a homegrown electric vehicle industry. With a robust domestic manufacturing sector, India will not only be able to meet its own demand for EVs, but also export them to other countries, further solidifying its role as a global EV leader. India's efforts to push for sustainable energy solutions align with its overall goals to reduce carbon emissions and fight climate change. By moving towards renewable energy sources like solar and wind, and combining this with electric vehicles, India is working to create a cleaner, greener future. Now, how will this benefit India? The electric vehicle industry is growing rapidly, but it is still facing many of the challenges. Many traditional automakers are working hard to develop their own electric vehicles, but the high cost of production, limited battery life, and insufficient charging infrastructure remain significant barriers to adoption. India's solid-state battery technology, along with its focus on local manufacturing and government support, gives the country a significant competitive edge in the global market. Here are a few reasons why India's new energy vehicles have the potential to disrupt the entire EV industry. India's ability to produce batteries locally, combined with the development of solid-state batteries, will reduce the overall production costs of electric vehicles. Even though the solid-state battery technology is more expansion than lithium batteries at the moment, more research will lead to cutting down the cost significantly. This will allow manufacturers to offer EVs at more affordable prices, making them accessible to a larger portion of the global population. More affordable EVs could lead to mass adoption, especially in developing countries where cost is a major factor in purchasing decisions. Many countries, including those in Europe and North America, are pushing for more sustainable energy solutions. India's focus on EV production positions it well to become a key player in the global export market. How India's EV revolution will shape the future. By exporting electric vehicles and batteries to other countries, India could significantly reduce the market share of companies in countries like China, Japan, and the US. The development of solid-state battery technology gives India a technological edge over other countries. While some automakers in Europe and the US are still struggling with traditional lithium-ion battery technology, India's early adoption of solid-state batteries could give its manufacturers a head start in the race to produce more efficient and longer-lasting EVs. This innovation could lead to India being recognized as the leader in EV battery technology. India's rise as a global EV leader could also force traditional automakers to reevaluate their approach to electric vehicles. Companies like Tesla, General Motors, and Toyota will need to adapt quickly to the evolving EV industry or risk losing market share to India's new energy vehicles. These automakers might be forced to adopt India's battery technology, collaborate with Indian companies, or ramp up their own innovations to stay competitive. India's push into electric vehicles will have far-reaching consequences, not just in the domestic market, but across the globe. As India develops more affordable, sustainable, and innovative EV technologies, other nations will likely follow its lead. India's efforts support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in reducing carbon emissions, and they set an example for other developing countries to make the shift to cleaner energy. As India becomes a hub for electric vehicle production, global competition and collaboration will increase. Major automakers from Tesla to Toyota will need to innovate to stay competitive, especially with the advent of solid-state battery technology, which promises to reduce costs and improve vehicle efficiency. India's local production of batteries could reshape the global supply chain and lead to partnerships across countries. For consumers, this shift means more affordable EVs, cheaper maintenance, and a cleaner environment. India's ability to mass-produce electric vehicles at affordable prices could also result in an internationalization of the Indian EV brand. Indian automakers like Tata Motors, Mahindra and Bajaj Auto are already making waves in the domestic market. But as the EV sector expands and the world sees the success of India's new energy vehicles, these brands could eventually find themselves on the world stage, competing with legacy automakers in terms of both quality and price. India's policymakers are positioning the country not just as a consumer of EVs, but as a global leader in electric vehicle production. With India poised to become the world's largest market for electric vehicles, it's safe to assume that international automakers will be closely watching India's approach to EVs and may be inclined to invest in local production or form joint ventures to remain competitive. The widespread adoption of EVs in India will not only improve air quality in cities, but will also offer long-term savings on fuel and maintenance. The growing charging infrastructure will make it easier for people to own and operate electric vehicles. India's new energy vehicles are set to revolutionize the global automotive market. With cheaper, more sustainable EVs and cutting-edge technologies, India is becoming a major player in the electric vehicle industry. As the world shifts toward more sustainable transport, India's leadership will inspire other nations to follow suit, making electric vehicles a standard for the future. What are your thoughts on India's role in the global EV revolution? Do you think solid-state batteries will change the game? Let us know in the comments section. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Remember to like, share it, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.